What is up, Star Wars fans? This is Darth Watson. In this video, we are going to be going over some new details for The Mandalorian and Grogu. And we're going to be going over starting with the anticipation of how much The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to make on opening night. And right now, it isn't looking very good based on this anticipation. And Star Wars News Net is a pretty reliable source. And generally, like if you go to StarWars.com, the official Star Wars website, or Star Wars Newsnet, or if you follow Jason Ward on MakingStarWars.net, they are legitimate sources for any upcoming Star Wars news, Star Wars projects, movies coming out. But it's for The Mandalorian and Grogu. The numbers are not looking too good right now on opening night, but that could change. Like, even if I even said in my past videos where even if The Mandalorian and Grogu makes $100 million more than what the budget was, or a couple hundred, or like, say if it's like $300 million and it makes about 600 million, it would still be considered a success, even though it didn't make as much money as the past Star Wars movies that are made under Disney, like The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, including Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Even Solo made money, it just wasn't a quote-unquote hit. But The Mandalorian and Grogu, could it flop? I don't think so, because that $71 million on opening night, that's just opening night. And usually the movie would be in theaters for about 2 to 3 months. So if it's making this much on opening night, it could make at least a couple $100 million more than what the budget was, for The Mandalorian and Grogu in the box office. That's as far as I can see it. So it doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a success, but what I'm anticipating is it might make about, because the budget was about $300 million, and if it makes more than $300 million, like $400 or $500 million or $600 million, it's still a success. It's just not a quote unquote hit. But that will be a good start for getting Star Wars movies back in the theaters, and I'm glad that Lucasfilm chose this option rather than the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy Star Wars movie, because if we went that route with the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy New Jedi Order Star Wars movie, that movie would flop big time. That would have more of a likely chance of flopping than The Mandalorian and Grogu. So another confirmation for the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu is that we have the runtime, and the runtime is only going to be 2 hours and 13 minutes long. 2 hours 12, 2 hours and 13 minutes long. According to the AMC website, which I read earlier, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes long. So it's not going to be a very long film, which kind of tells me that more that, and it's based on what Jon Favreau said in the past, is that The Mandalorian and Grogu is not the same as Mandalorian Season 4. And Jon Favreau said that Season 4 has been written already. So I was thinking that it was taking up the second half of the season for The Mandalorian Season 4, as far as writing The Mandalorian and Grogu, but it may be taking up a smaller portion of Season 4. So it's taking up a small portion of Season 4. Like, Jon Favreau has probably taken a small portion of Season 4 and turned that into The Mandalorian and Grogu, and then decided to rework the script into back into 8 episodes, so it will lead up to the events of The Mandalorian and Grogu, and The Mandalorian and Grogu will tie all 4 seasons of The Mandalorian together, and ending the entire Mandalorian series. And Season 4 is still a possibility, depending on how well The Mandalorian and Grogu does. And honestly, like, even though I don't agree with the idea that The Mandalorian and Grogu should replace Season 4, it's still a better option than the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy New Jedi Order Star Wars movie. as what I mentioned earlier in my video. So, anyways, we got those are the two confirmations for the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu film. That's all I have to say for this video. Do make sure to smash a like, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you all later in another video.